Does size matter? It's the age-old question that the wife has been asking for years. But instead of my wife, I'm joined today by Tony Gimple, a brand entrepreneur, a good colleague in the industry. I'm Nicholas Warwick, CEO of Redbrick and propertyforum.com. Tony, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So what I mean by that question, of course, is not to try and get lots of clicks on this video. It's purely to understand from a tax, planning, corporate structure point of view, which is your expertise, does the size of your development matter? You know, we're stood here in one of my client sites, 30,000 square foot office to residential conversion down in Hampshire. Is that any different in terms of tax planning, corporate structure, overall kind of strategy, compared to, say, buying a small HMO around town?
The short answer is no, and the short answer is yes.
Excellent. I knew I could get a straight answer from you, Tony.
Well, that is a straight answer.
Okay.
Because without knowing about the client's individual circumstances,
Okay.
where they are, whether they've got other employment, whether they've got other companies, whether they've got other developments, it's impossible to say.
Okay, so contextual is
Context is everything in this. So for this kind of size of development, yeah, size absolutely does matter. You've got VAT elements, you've got other businesses involved, lots of billing. This isn't a first-time venture for someone. They're almost certainly using external funding. There may be investment elements. So this would be a highly complex business structure. It's almost like having a group of companies, all bringing it together with one firm, if you like, one board, pulling the strings and making sure that everything happens for the right purpose.
Definitely. And just to touch on it, as you mentioned, the corporate structure over here, we've got a group company, we've got the SPV that holds the asset, we've got a separate development company that holds the development contracts and does various work there. One of those is VAT registered, others are not. So you have all sorts of interesting group relief structure, rebates, use at the end determines the tax treatment throughout.
Correct.
So it can be complicated.
Well, that's because it is. And by SPV is purely a marketing term.
Special purpose vehicle.
Or single purpose vehicle. You can use it as, basically it's just another limited company.
Yeah.
But if you're not as advanced or sizable, then if you're just starting out, your first project, almost certainly if you're using your own money or bank lending, then in your own name will, generally speaking, be as good as anything. On the rental side, probably once you become a portfolio landlord or portfolio developer, say 5 or more, that's when you really need to start looking in more detail about making sure you've got the right overall structure in place, which keeps you within the law, allows you to pay the correct amount of tax, remain solvent, and then move on to your next project. But ultimately, it will always depend upon not the size of the project, whether it's your first or your 50th. It's where you are, what you've experienced previously. Is it just a one-off? Is it going to be your career? Are you going to be part-time? Are you building a retirement fund? Don't assume that you know what you're doing, and don't assume that the people you're currently talking to know what they're doing. They, like you, are going to have to prove, A, you can work through the noise of the angle grinder going in the background, but that's fine.
We do some work here on site.
Sorry, that word was what?
Work.
Okay.
Lots of it.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Well, no pain no gain without the pain.
Absolutely not. No, it is hard work.
It is hard work. It really is hard work. So for anybody to advise you, they've got to have had their own experience. They've got to come with a proven track record. They've got to be able to point you in the right direction, say, but this is what we did for this type of client. This is what you might do for another type of client. But you've also got an issue. One of my sayings when talking to clients is, we need to know where the bodies are buried. And that's not because you're part of organised crime, no, and we tend to walk away from those people. It's unless somebody's prepared to tell you.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. Otherwise, you can't hang your hat or your hard hat on partial disclosure.
No.
So whoever you're going to be working with, accountants, lawyers, make sure they know more than you do and tell them everything. At which point you'll get a really good idea of should you structure for in your own name, as joint tenants, in tenants in common, in a simple partnership, in a limited liability partnership, in a limited company, in a mixed partnership, in a PLC, non-reporting, or public. Should you look for external funding, and how will that affect? So, do your research. Don't worry about how big or small, whether it's HMO, whether it's a single conversion, whether it's moving on, building something in your back garden, which you hope to sell or rent out. Size is immaterial. It's about the right kind of advice at the right time for the right reasons.
Okay, well, thank you for that advice, Tony. So apparently size is immaterial. Chaps at home, you can sit back and relax now. All that worry was for nothing. Thank you for your time today, Tony. Really insightful advice there. You've been watching Property Forum TV. I'm Nicholas Woolwork, CEO of propertyforum.com and CEO of Redbrick. You can catch up with Tony and I on propertysummits.com. It's our events and speaking business where we give lots of good education for those that are interested in learning more about treating your property investments as a business. Please subscribe to this video, click the bell icon to be notified of future videos, and I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Please do comment and let me know your thoughts. Take care. Bye-bye.